traders at the Central Business District of Accra are unhappy about the treatment meted out to them by officials of the AMA task force. The traders are back on the pavement, but this time they are selling behind the demarcated red lines. The task force, however, will not have any of that. Joy News' Maxwell Agbaba caught up with traders this morning at Mokola, a day after the massive decongestion exercise carried out by the Accra Metropolitan Assembly.
Red line right now, but this AMA official here is trying to get them to move away from this area. Let's see if he would speak to us. Red line, you have a red line here. They are behind the red line. So why are you sacking them?
Red light.
Okay, well, he says they are not working with the red line. Where they are is inappropriate, and she wants to get them away from this place. He says they are not working with the red line, so they are trying to get them away from this place. Okay, red line and Yakachuni.
Red light.
Okay, well, he's insisting. He's insisting that they leave this place. The sellers here are also saying and that they are behind the red line, and they don't understand why he should sack them from this place. He says he's complying to the directive issued by the hierarchy of the AMA for them not to even sit here because it's inappropriate. So that's still happening here. He's insisting they leave this place. Essentially, what she's saying that she has 2 children, one in Ziope, another one also in another school. She's the only one who caters for them. She's the breadwinner of a family, and now that she's been sacked from this place, she really does not know what she's going to do to pay their school fees and also cater for them. A lot of them here are pleading. The woman that I spoke to earlier is still begging.
I'm a university now my standing agent. Honorable so I won't qualify. Yeah, Mika Uhela Chapo to me. Nimoko University B. Now, Lord, me.
Well, essentially what she's saying, she's just begging governments, pleading with the president, Nana Akufo-Addo, to do something about this. She's saying that AMA, they have to be considerate in doing this because they have a lot of children that they have to cater for, and it's difficult for them if they are sacked from this place. Now, let's show you what is happening here on the streets here. Now, this street leads down to the Central Business District. It's very close to the hockey pitch here at the Tema station. And as I said earlier, usually when you come here, the street is normally it's blocked with traders and hawkers on both shoulders of the road. Vehicular traffic is really massive on this stretch. Now, getting to Makola or Rollins Park is very difficult, especially during the daytime. But it looks like the traffic situation here has reduced considerably. A lot of vehicles are able to move down into the Central Business District with ease because the traders who usually block the stretch are not here. They are behind the red line right now. So the road is a bit cleared. A lot of pedestrians we've been speaking to are very excited about the situation, but not for this market women who sell, here on the streets.
Maxwell Agbaba there. Meanwhile, former mayor of Accra, Nat Nunu Amatofio, says the decongestion exercise currently ongoing is unsustainable as the Accra Metropolitan Assembly lacks the resources to keep personnel on the street for the purposes of keeping recalcitrant traders in check. Speaking on Joy FM Super Morning Show, Mr. Amatofio admitted that the exercise will yield some long-term dividend for the city. But according to him, the problem of congestion is an economic one which requires economic solutions.
The whole exercise is rather like taking castor oil when you are a kid because you ate too many unripe mangoes when you shouldn't, and your parents have to purge you from time to time. The whole exercise is frankly aimed at resolving an economic and a social problem using force. Everything you do in a growing country is related to everything else. You want to have free SSS, good. That means you're going to have a lot of kids coming out of high school. Is the economy growing fast enough to absorb them? No. You know that, and I know that. Go to Tema. A lot of the factories that were built during the Nkrumah period now stand empty and are being used as churches. Go to the industrial area here in Accra. A lot of the factories that were built in the 60s and the 70s to absorb the excess workforce are empty. So it's not really something that you can look to AMA and say, you resolve this. The problem is there, and it keeps every year that kids get out of our high schools and our universities, more and more of them coming onto the streets. So it will always come out until we can get an economy. In the long run, it will be sustained. In the short run, no, it will not be sustained in the short run because the city has not the resources to keep on the streets to push traders off the road. So in the short run, the city will have to divert its attention elsewhere. But so long as it keeps coming back and letting the public know that this is not tolerable, in the long run, some kind of civility will be achieved. It is part of a process.
Well, away from the decongestion exercise in Accra, Member of Parliament for Asante Achim North, Andy Appiah Kubi, has accused the District Police Commander in Agogo of conniving with nomadic herdsmen to foment trouble. He insists the District Commander cannot work with him, an allegation he says he's officially informed both divisional and regional police commands about. Yesterday, 4 members of the Joint Police Military Task Force dealing with the menace of nomadic herdsmen in the Ashanti region in Operation Cowleg were allegedly shot by some nomadic herdsmen. Now, the MP has described the current security situation in the area as volatile, urging residents to stop going to their farms until security operatives bring the situation under control. A police reinforcement team has been sent to Agogo to restore calm and order. Ohiming Terrier has more.
Indication of the fact that they are in the process of going into execution. And it is this execution that has resulted in this rebuttal from the herdsmen. But let's look at the chronology of events. And the police force from the region under the auspices of the National Regional Security Council came to Agogo to go into the Afram Plains to try and drive away the command. They have to report to the local commander of the police service. And indeed, he joined the team to go to the Afram Plains. They were in Afram Plains for about 1 week and didn't see any cattle and didn't see any Fulani herdsman. The indication that the commander was giving to all of us was that the Fulani and on us that the information that the district commander was giving was inaccurate, because some of his own people also told us that anytime they wanted to go to the plains, the commander will send a call to the Fulanis telling them that we are coming to this area and therefore vacate this area so that when we come there we won't see anything. And indeed, over a week, they didn't see anything. So we were beginning to understand. And let the local people, some of the local policemen, join the command as was dispatched from the region. And upon such effort, we saw the cattle were there still, and the Fulani men were still there. So it meant that what the command operation driving away the cattle. It happened that on one occasion they met a Fulani herdsman with his cattle on somebody's farm, destroying the farm. And indeed they arrested the person and they brought him to the police station in Agogo. The police commander told me that upon his investigation, the military and the police force had beaten that Fulani man. In fact, the man is dead.
Apologies on the low quality of that file. Meanwhile, the Joint Police Military Task Force dealing with the menace of nomadic herdsmen in that particular region say they'll continue to maintain a strong presence in and around Agogo despite the shooting of 4 of its members yesterday. 4 officers, including a commander, were shot by suspected herdsmen at Sreboso near Agogo while responding to a distress call from a lady farmer to save her farm from being destroyed by herds of cattle. In an interview with Joy News' Ohiminteri this morning, an emergency and trauma nurse at the Agogo Presbyterian Hospital, Emmanuel Mensah, indicated the injured, 3 of the injured have been transferred to the Komfo Teaching Hospital for further treatment.
We've been in Agogo since the morning, monitoring developments here after reports of attack on the police military team emerged yesterday. According to the police, the joint police military team, who are members of the Operation Cowleg, were attacked at about 12 p.m. yesterday at Sreboso, a suburb of Agogo, here in the Asante Achim North District. And this morning, we have been speaking to doctors and nurses at the Agogo Presby Hospital to find out from them how the 4 officers are doing at the hospital. But a few minutes ago, I was told that 3 of the military officers have been transferred to the Komfo Teaching Hospital. Let me speak to Mr. Emmanuel Mensah. He's a trauma and critical nurse at the Agogo Hospital. So tell me, at what point did you transfer the 3 officers to Komfo Hospital?
Okay, yesterday in the evening, around 7 p.m., around 6 p.m., we reassessed them and then we realized that one of them who had a shot of the pellet down the throat began becoming dyspneic, becoming breathless, cannot breathe because there was edema forming. Sorry, the upper airway was getting obstructed, so he was choking. So we quickly had to rush him to the theater and then intubate him. But the prior decision to refer them had already been sustained because the other 2 have a pellet at the base of the skull, which was equally causing CSF to bleed through the ears. So we had to refer. And the other one too was having a pellet by the vertebral column. So it was initially critical that we need to refer, both the 3 of them. But the 4th person was lucky. He only had a shot of a pellet in the left shoulder, which has been dressed. This morning, unfortunately, he's come for review and he's stable. That is the commander himself.
Okay. Before we came on air, we were discussing their condition, and you said that at that point, if you had not taken that decision to react, something untoward could have happened. What exactly was the danger?
Initially, we were thinking of transferring the patient faster, but we realized that the ambulance services are not that forthcoming, that we could meet a challenge and then we could lose the patient on the way. So the initial decision was to wait and then hold on a bit just for a few minutes and then see how best the patient will be before transferring, just to make sure the patient is stable. But unfortunately, within 30 minutes prior to after taking that decision, the patient began to complain that he was choking, that he couldn't swallow saliva, which was a danger sign. And later we realized that the tongue was coming out, which means that the patient is choking and the breath had become hoarse, like someone who is choking. So we quickly have to rush the patient to the theater just to secure the airway. The airway was most important thing at then.
One thing that is so common with the Agogo and issues relating to people who are fallen victims to this nomadic herdsmen farmer clash is the fact that people want to troop into the hospital to catch a glimpse of whatever happens here. So fill me in, what was the situation yesterday?
it was quite critical because we couldn't control the crowd. People were just trooping in. Some were patients, some were patient attendants, some were just passerbys, and others could just come from town to come and see what is going on. Because it's always quite a side news, because the police and then the force workers, they come to try and save the community and then they end up becoming victims. So it's like the whole crowd of the town were like trying to come and see what is going on.
So how did you manage to control the crowd?
We had to speak to them. We had to assure them that their people are okay and they are now in a safe hands. So they should calm down, come back during the visiting hours, and then they can get a chance to see them, so that for now they could just leave a space for us, because they could either cause another stampede or anything.
But did that affect the work that you're supposed to do as a medical staff for the victims who were rushed here?
Not at all. Not at all. There was just some hindrances, like you were bouncing into people here, there, and everywhere, but it didn't stop us from anything.
But I must say, it's a normal day for the people of Agogo, just that you see people in groups discussing the matter. Some are of the opinion that once the military and the police are involved, this could, attract some quick response from authorities. Though the team has been here, they've been with the people for quite some time now. As far as the Operation Cow Leg is concerned, don't forget our detailed Joy News documentary, Violent Shepherds, that catalogue the activities of nomadic herdsmen and farmer clashes in Agogo, in the Ashanti and the Kou areas in the eastern region, and the Kintampo and Brekum in the Bono Ahafo and other parts of the country, took into consideration the fact that this has become an albatross and a security threat to the nation. So a lot of people in Agogo are more concerned about what happens to them next. But let me say that the police say they are not going to mount any special operation. They are not going to change their operational procedures as far as the combating the nomadic herdsmen farmer clashes in Agogo is concerned. They'll continue with their presence, will be felt by the people, and then both on the ground and also on the farm.
You're live on News Today on Joy News channel on Multi-TV, DSTV channel 421 and GoTV channel 144. Just gone by in this bulletin, MP for Achim North, Andy Apiakubi, accuses District Police Commander of Agogo of conniving with herdsmen in the area to foment trouble. And AMA task force face fierce resistance from traders in the Central Business District over decongestion exercise here in Accra. Still to come, Attorney General appeals for an expeditious hearing of the case involving former Director General of the National Communication Authority. Do stay for details. Thanks for staying here on Joy News today with me, Bernice Abubedu. Now, the Attorney General, Gloria Kufo, has prayed an Accra High Court to expeditiously hear the case involving former Director General of the National Communication Authority, NCA, William Matthew Tavy, and 4 others who've been charged with causing financial loss to the state. She clashed in court with lawyers for the 5 as she urged the court to allow sit-ins on each day of the week. While some of the lawyers for the 5 raised medical concerns as reasons for their inability to agree with this push by the Attorney General, others claimed they had commitment in other courts. Joseph Akable.
The matter came on for the first time on the 22nd of December, but for health reasons, the first and the third accused persons could not attend. The matter was adjourned today so that their pleas will be taken. Their pleas have since been taken, and the court, taking into consideration the constitutional right to fair trial for the accused person, has accommodated their health conditions and is therefore adjourned the matter to next week, Tuesday the 16th. In principle, the court will be sitting twice a week, because one of the accused persons has to attend hospital 3 times a week. So the court has ordered that the prosecution should produce its first witness when the court resumes sitting on the matter on the 16th.
You were suggesting that the court sits 5 times a day in the week, 5 times in the week, so you could expedite.
Well, I didn't suggest. The courts indicated its preparedness, because, you know, the courts are always managed by the courts. And this is not the only case that the court is handling. However, the courts indicated its readiness to hear the matter on day-to-day basis, 5 times a week. However, given the constraints of health of 2 of the accused persons, and also taking into account counsel's other commitment, the court struck a compromise that in that case we would sit, barring any other exigencies, on 2 days, Tuesdays and Thursdays, for the period.
How soon do you think this case would run?
I don't want to hazard that. I don't like to speculate. First of all, there are a lot of things that will happen. We are now beginning with challenges of ill health of 2 of the accused persons. We are having to deal with that. 2, we are having to deal with commitments. Our office is also very busy, but we were prepared to sacrifice everything so that the trial could be heard expeditiously. And I am minded to think that the more expeditiously we handle, the better, even in the interest of the accused persons. Where you have this hanging on your neck is not the best of things. You also have a situation where judges, lawyers are saying they have other commitments in the Supreme Court, and of course, because the Supreme Court prevails over other courts, once you have a matter there. But I thought that that was speculatory, and that as and when it became necessary for any of the lawyers, including my office, of course, to appear before the Supreme Court, or for that matter, the Court of Appeal, I believe that the court will give a good ear to that, but that we cannot say that because there is a possibility that a judge, a lawyer may appear in the Supreme Court, because the Supreme Court usually sits on Tuesdays, we should close the day for Tuesdays in this trial. So we are starting, and we'll see how it progresses. But I'll be very reluctant to give a date to it.
We know
but there are arguments that this could have been sent to the Office of the Special Prosecutor. Why couldn't you wait for that?
I thought the accusation has been that we are not prosecuting because we are waiting for the Office of the Special Prosecutor. So I can never get it right. I come to court, the problem is that why don't you wait for the Special Prosecutor? And now that I am in court, you are asking me why I shouldn't wait for the Special Prosecutor. You are not coming to court, they say, why are you not coming to court? You are waiting for the Special Prosecutor. I think that I should take this opportunity to explain. The cases we run in our office depend, I'll speak loud enough, please. Depend on what you have on a docket. A case is not started merely because a docket has been submitted to the office. I think the expression that the investigators always use is that we have submitted the docket to the Office of the Attorney General for advice. This is because investigations involve largely the gathering of evidence. For purposes of evaluation for prosecution, the Attorney General will have to study a docket and determine whether what is on the docket will warrant a prosecution. That at least will require an accused person to be called upon to answer. That is what it's been about. It has never been the case that cases are not coming to court because we are waiting for the Office of the Special Prosecutor. That is a perception which is wrong and which I want to disabuse. And for that reason, therefore, we have not waited for the establishment of the Office of the Special Prosecutor to bring this matter to court.
Away from the court, the Ministry of Food and Agriculture is calling on farmers to be more vigilant and report early signs of armyworm infestation. Technical advisor to the ministry, Kwesi Koboy, says the total eradication of the pest is a collective responsibility of all Ghanaians. An armyworm invasion saw 20,000 acres of farmland destroyed in 2017, with hundreds of farmers losing their livelihood. Mr. Koboy is, however, impressing on farmers to play their role in ensuring such destruction never occurs again.
It's a duty for all of us. It's like cholera, like HIV/AIDS. It's a public education. I mean, we all benefit if we keep them in. What government can do is to create an environment, bring the chemicals, train the farmers, but we have to educate our people that, look, if you see X, be careful. Report it to the nearest AEA or district. Because you hear people come here, Mr. Kobo, we had a problem on our farm. You ask, when was it? Oh, about 4 weeks ago. Did you tell the district officer or the AEA? Oh, no. I said, well, but that's the first point of call. When you are sick, you go first to your district hospital where you go to collect booth. The point is that it's a duty for all of us. But I can assure you that as a ministry, we are very much prepared. Our idea is that by end of February, all the things we're doing will be settled before even the season starts.
What will that mean?
What it means is that we'll have chemicals, we'll have gone through series of training of our AEAs, the farmers themselves, formed all this mobile system, be updated with our surveillance system so that we know, for example, that your hometown in Zema, we've got our data shows us from the traps that there's a high level of incidence of fall armyworm. So we know that, well, we need to send logistics to Nzema instead of sending logistics to so many in my hometown. These things are very important.
So what would that mean? If I see eggs on a farm in my hometown after February, how long would it take the average officer to attend to me? And how long will it take for us to know that we will not have a spread?
No. I'm saying, you see, we have traps all around the country. That is country even monitoring, even though we are off-season, it's monitoring. Because don't forget that the fall armyworm also lives on grasses and other plant species, not only maize. Just that maize is his preferred choice. Okay. So that's why we're doing this surveillance, what we call the early warning signal. Now, what we're saying is that once you see the moths or the moths or the butterflies, let me simplify it. That means that it's going to lay eggs. And it's the eggs that starts the whole cycle. All right. And once you see the eggs, we expect that the farmer will inform, because the AES, we've also, as part of our training, we're giving numbers of the district, the NADMO guys, to the farmers in all the communities.
You made that point that farmers are supposed to inform the AES.
So inform them, and they'll quickly come there and help the farmers address. That's why we're forming the number spray gangs in all the various districts in the country. So there's onus on all of us. We are prepared. We are organizing ourselves. We know the hotspots. We train farmers. We train AES. We're forming spraying gangs. We are getting the chemicals. We're doing all what it takes, similar to countries like Brazil, South Africa, who've also successfully fought the fall armyworm.
Now, the eastern region town of Accra is home to the Komfanoche Sanctuary, named after the 16th century legendary traditional priest. It was a spiritual retreat center for the man said to have helped in establishing the Asante Kingdom. Though its tourism potential remains largely untapped, like many others, people visit the sanctuary for spiritual intervention to solve personal problems, including childlessness and financial issues. Michael Igohimingteya traveled to the Akwapin North Municipality to explore the area.
Located on the highest elevation of the Akwapin Mountains, Aprede is believed to have been founded long before any of the Okere or Akwapin towns. It is noted for its unique climatic condition and beautiful mountainous scenery. Aprede prides itself of several tourism sites like caves and historical artifacts, which unfortunately remain untapped.
Now, when we talk about Komfanoche, the name of that priest rings a lot of bell in the development of Ghana, particularly the Akwapim and the Asantes.
One of them is the Komfanoche Sanctuary, a spiritual retreat center for the legendary priest who lived in the 16th century.
As you can see, these are rocks, but history has it that this is where the legendary fetish priest used to rest. These are footprints. Unfortunately, my feet is not as the same size of the legendary Komfanoche.
Tour guides lead visitors who must not put on footwear to the sanctuary, believed to be the abode of the gods. A guide claps to ask for permission from the spirits before any visit.
The Komfanoche Sanctuary, we know it's not just him. or you say the physical being is dead or is no more. But we believe that even when the flesh is gone, the spirit still lives on. Yes, per the traditions that we have, we know that the spirits still live on, and this is their abode. So when you are going into somebody's territory, you just have to alert the person that you are coming in. So it's necessary you knock, just as when we are entering our own homes. You knock, and then you know that there are places where you may not need to step. So whilst doing that, you have to take off your footwear.
Dr. Mantija Tinyako is a lecturer at the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology's College of Art and Built Environment. He has spent 15 years to research into the sanctuary and several other tourist sites at Aprede,
where he actually went for his solitude, for his meditation, and as a retreat. It's a place to be revered and a place to be looked at very well.
That report was brought to you by Ohiming Terry. The full version airs during our subsequent bulletins. To make it data 3 for the polls. We'll take a quick breather now for business news. Emmanuel Abwajiriafe is standing by.